Alright, so I want to talk about 10 fantastic Xbox One games that are insanely cheap. And I've been rediscovering the Xbox One library for the last year or so. You can see in the background I've got my Xbox One S there that I picked up for like $100 from a buddy, super cheap. It's a fantastic console. I really love it. I did own an Xbox One before. I sold it at one point when I sold all of my collection and all my games because I really pared down to just a couple of systems. But I've really decided that the Xbox One is a console that I really, really love. And one of the major reasons why I really, really love the Xbox One is because it is still being supported right now with many, if not most, of the brand new games that are coming out to the Xbox Series. Game Pass is still a fantastic resource on this console. That Game Pass Ultimate membership goes back and forth between my PC build here and my Xbox, so I can seamlessly switch between these devices to play some of my favorite games back and forth on whatever device I choose with absolutely no fuss, no muss whatsoever. But the really great thing as a collector, shall we say, although I don't really categorize myself as a collector anymore, but I do enjoy deals. And you probably should too if you like physical media, because with everything going on in the marketplace today, with the physical versus digital debate, I think it's safe to say this is one of the last generations, and even this generation is compromised. In fact, just as I went to capture some footage today, I realized that virtually every game that I wanted to talk about here today needed some kind of a significant update or a patch or something, which is super frustrating and does not bode well for the future of physical preservation once the Xbox One is shut down or the Xbox Series is shut down because it's backwards compatible. It's going to be harder to, source all of the updates and patches for the best version of whatever game you want to play. But all that being said, caveats aside, this is still a really fun console to collect for, and the Xbox One does not get enough credit for actually having a pretty fantastic library. Everybody talks about the PS4 as being the big JRPG machine, but there are a ton of JRPGs on the Xbox One, as you will see in this list, and there's a ton of other really great content outside of those multiplayer games that you often associate with Xbox, like your Halos and your Call of Duties and that sort of thing. There's a lot of depth in this library. Let's start with my first pick here, which is a game that you can pick up for around $20 Canadian, which is like quite a bit less in the States. All prices here in this video reflect Canadian, which is about 30% less valuable dollar for dollar than the Americans. So, Tales of Arise. This is a fantastic, wonderful JRPG. As you can see, I paid $22 and change for this. It had been marked down several times. There's like 6 stickers on top of each other here. This is a great game that does not get enough love, and it got discounted really early on in its life. I haven't beaten this game yet, but I have played a significant enough amount to know that it plays great on the Xbox One. Nice and smooth frame rate, beautiful visuals, absolutely love this game. The action combat here is really fun and engaging. And, $20, man, like $22, you can't argue with a quality recent title like this. Like, this game just came out, less than 2 years ago, I think? Next, say what you will about the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, this has been patched out now, and it is, if not the definitive version of these games, it's still pretty good. I've really mostly played Vice City out of the 3 of these so far, and Vice City looks good, it plays good, there are no frame rate issues, I have not seen any graphical clipping or anything like that in the early hours of the game. I think I'm about halfway done with Vice City, and I'm happy with the way this looks, and I picked this up for $25 at a pawn shop. I think a pretty good deal for 3 iconic games, just playable on modern platforms. I really don't care how much of an upgrade it is, like, it's a competent version of the game, and I absolutely enjoy going back to these titles because, frankly, I'm not really all that big of a fan of the modern Grand Theft Auto series. I mean, it's fine, but it's just not for me. I really enjoyed the kind of cartoony art styles back then. I really enjoyed the over-the-top stories back then, and I don't know, I just feel like there's something really charming about this trilogy of games and their spin-offs on the PSP and DS and that sort of thing. So definitely, if you haven't given this a chance, you can find this out there in the $20 to $25 range all day long. Next is the Forza series, and particularly I'm playing through Forza 6 right now. Now, Forza 7 was the most modern game before the new Forza Motorsport came out, so this is two versions, 2 games ago. But let me tell you, these games still look fantastic. I'm playing on my Xbox One, which outputs this at 1080p, onto my 1080p TV that you can see in the background, and it couldn't possibly look any better. It's absolutely gorgeous. The cars look beautiful. The graphics are gorgeous, and unlike the new Forza Motorsport game, which came out with a whole bunch of performance problems and graphical glitches and stuff, this game is finely tuned. It is absolutely perfect. I absolutely love this game. I also have 5, and really any of these games, 5, 6, or 7, run absolutely great on the Xbox One. At least not maybe not the VCR model, but the S and X versions of the console, I think, will run it totally fine. I'm not sure why it looks so red here. I think the lighting is picking it up off my Nintendo sweater here. Crazy that I'm wearing a Nintendo sweater in an Xbox video, but whatever, we fly like that on this channel. Next video to talk about here. This is a pretty obvious recommendation that you're going to hear on all kinds of systems from all kinds of people, but I can't resist Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of an Elusive Age. This is one of the best JRPGs ever made. It's a fantastic looking port on the Xbox One. I also have this on the Nintendo Switch, but the Xbox One version looks and plays better than the Switch version, and if you're gonna play it on a TV anyway, it's just better to play it on the Xbox. You can also get this on everything, PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, all that kind of thing. The crazy thing is, this was $29.99, brand new $29.99 at GameStop for the Xbox One. So $30 out the door, that's like $22 American. Another one that I haven't really played much of is Digimon Survive, but this has come highly recommended to me from other YouTubers whose opinions that I respect and generally agree with. I did play the first opening hour or so of this and found it pretty interesting. This is getting to be a harder to find game, particularly on the Xbox, but that does not mean that it's expensive. You can often see this game in the $20 range, and I think there's definitely value to be had here in this game on the Xbox because, I don't know, it's kind of an unusual blend of a dark sort of horror-ish visual novel with really interesting combat. Give it a try, even if you're not a fan of Digimon, which I'm not either. But I heard the game was really good, and I thought I would give it a try. Unfortunately, this is one of these games that needs a huge patch, so I couldn't really capture any footage to show you, but I'm sure I'll pull something off the internet or whatever. Moving on to the next game here, and this is a series that I have fallen in and out of love with a few different times. I have not played this particular game yet because the idea of getting into a 150 to 200 hour adventure just hasn't really appealed to me quite yet, but I know I will get to it, and that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There are a couple of really big big Assassin's Creed games recently. Odyssey and Valhalla come to mind when we think of those typical Ubisoft huge open world adventures, and I really wanted to dip my toes into one because I haven't played a lot of Ubisoft games recently, so I don't really have that Ubisoft fatigue from the Far Cry games and the Assassin's Creed games. The last Assassin's Creed game that I played was Black Flag on the Wii U, and I absolutely loved that. So, I think I will find some value in this, but again, I think I picked this up at a pawn shop for $10 or $15, and these are everywhere. Like every pawn shop I go to, they have this game and all the Assassin's Creed games. They're cheap, but that doesn't mean they're bad. These games are really highly respected, and I'm looking forward to checking this out in somewhat the near future. I've just got some other really big games on the go right now, including Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Persona 4, and those are, big 100-hour adventures as well. So I want to tie up some of those loose ends before I get into something else. Another game that I am playing right now is Soul Hackers 2, and this game is criminally underrated. Criminally underrated. This is a game in the Shin Megami Tensei Persona, style universe by Atlas. For those of you who don't know, it has the standard press turn system, so the battles are very similar to Persona. The world building in this game is very cool. The characters are a little bit more mature than in a Persona game. The story is a little bit more dark and mature, similar to a Shin Megami Tensei game. The art style is beautiful. I really love this game. I got stuck in a particular dungeon that I'm trying to work my way through right now, about 13-14 hours into the game, but I'm not giving up because this is one of the best games I've played. In 2023 is when I started this game, and I'm still working on it here and there. But another game that you can pick up brand new for $20 to $30, and I would not sleep on this because unlike the PS4 version, this one's going to be rare, folks, because they're not printing very many Xbox versions of these games. So expect something like this, a game from Atlas in the SMT, universe, zeitgeist, if you will. This is going to be a $150 game down the road because there's just not enough copies to satisfy what will eventually be the demand when those fans get their thumb out of their behind and realize that this is actually a really good game. Alright, another JRPG on the list, and I like JRPGs. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Star Ocean: The Divine Force I have not really played yet. Again, I have this huge backlog of games, but Paige, my friend Paige, Fem Trooper, finished this game around Christmas time, I believe, and she absolutely loved it. And I was pretty excited to jump in. I've had limited exposure to the Star Ocean games. I played, I believe it's Till the End of Time on the PS2, and I thought it was fine, but it was kind of clunky and dated in terms of getting around the maps and that sort of thing. But I liked it. I liked the concept and the idea of that kind of Star Trek sort of prime directive, or an advanced race ends up marooned on a backwards planet, and they can't really affect, they don't really want to, show off all of their technology or whatever. I kind of like that idea. Apparently the combat in this is really cool. The graphics are okay, aside from the character models apparently looking a little weird in the facial animations and that sort of thing, which can apparently take some getting used to, but I'm thinking I will probably enjoy this game because I like just what Star Ocean has to offer, and I've wanted to play a modern one for a while. I do also have the other two remakes, First Departure R and Second Story R, on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm a little bit further into Second Story right now, so I kind of wanted to wrap that one up before I start this. But again, I think this was brand new for $29.99. here's another game that I'm playing right now, and this is my problem. I have so many games on the go. I have like 6, 7 big, meaty, beefy games on the go all at the same time, and it takes me forever to get through them. But Yakuza Like a Dragon. This game came out, what, 2, 3, 4 years ago? I can't remember exactly. It was a while ago. But I just picked this game up over the last 6 months or so, and I started playing it, I would say at the beginning of January, and I'm a fair ways into it, and I'm really enjoying this game, man. This game is like nothing I've ever played before, and this is another game that Paige Femtrooper recommends highly. She says it's one of her favorite games of all time, and I can see why. This is a game that I picked up, the Day 1 edition, for $20 to $30, brand new. The Xbox is just such a cheap console to collect for, and the game runs pretty good. I did notice the odd like momentary frame drop here and there, just a little hiccup when you're running through the city or whatever, but nothing that I would really say is game breaking by any means. And this is just such a cool game. It is very unusual to play a game as a 40-year-old dude in a modern day setting. And all of the issues, people are talking about having sore backs and, things like that. The characters are older. One of his companions is a retired cop that's like 60 years old or something. And like, it's just really cool to play as real adults and not children or teenagers, in most games, and, deal with things that an older guy like me can actually relate to. Feelings of inadequacy, like maybe you didn't become all you could become in your life, and, striving to start anew at that sort of age and start a new life and start climbing the ladder again after basically having wasted your youth. Some really interesting themes in here that I'm really enjoying, and the combat being turn-based is really, really interesting. The Yakuza games up until this one had been beat-em-ups, essentially, whereas this goes turn-based and gives you a whole host of choices on what you want to do, and it makes this much more like a JRPG than an action beat-em-up. It has hit points and, all that kind of thing, and XP, and so really enjoying that game, and I'm probably going to wrap that up in the next month or so here. Another game that I have played the crap out of, and I actually accidentally bought a second copy because I love this game so much, and it was deadly cheap, like so cheap, and that is Scarlet Nexus. I have 2 copies of this on the Xbox One now. I would say this is hands down the best action RPG I have played in the last 5 years. No bones about it. It's fantastic. The combat is amazing. The combos and the cool things you can do with your special powers, the telekinetic powers to pick up things and throw them at your enemies, adds so much depth to the combat, and being able to switch characters and borrow their abilities and do things like teleport or turn invisible. Like, it's just such an incredible combat system in this game. And the story is really cool. It's like a post-apocalyptic Japan sort of a situation, and the art style is, just chef's kiss, man. The art style in this is absolutely gorgeous. I can't speak highly enough about this criminally underrated game. Their plans for this series was to make a whole, world around this with anime and toys and merch and all that kind of stuff. And I don't really know that it's going as well as Bandai wanted it to. I don't think this game did as well as they wanted it to, but man, do I ever want a sequel to this game. I hope they stick with it, but do yourself a favor, man. Pick this game up, and any other game on this list that you can pick up for $15 or $20, these are all like top-notch experiences for any console, not just the Xbox One. So, pick it up on whatever console you have access to. And then another huge 10 out of 10 experience here, and this is 3 games actually, and that is the Mass Effect Legendary Trilogy. This includes Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 fully remastered in to a wonderful degree. They did a wonderful job with this. These do not even look like remasters. They look like brand new, 4K experiences. Now, I am playing this on the Xbox One. This is Xbox One and Series version. So when I upgrade to a Series and plug it into my 4K TV in the other room, I'm going to get the best experience. But this still looks and plays fantastic on the Xbox One on my 1080p TV. I'm quite happy with how this looks. These games are legendary. If you haven't played a Mass Effect game, seriously, if you call yourself a gamer, you need to play these games. These are the penultimate sci-fi RPGs, and quite frankly, the only Western RPG that I have really given a whole heck of a lot of crap about. I'm not a huge fan of your Skyrims and your Witchers and stuff. They're good. I get it, but it's just not my bag. But when you get into the sci-fi world, I absolutely love this, and I absolutely love games that remind me of this, like Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, for example. Just great stories. I love the branching paths and the ability to make all these choices that affect things going further into the game, and even to the point where your save file from one game will play into the save file for the next game. It's just a really fantastic series. And then lastly, for all of you bros out there that have been waiting for me to stop talking about the stupid JRPGs, Call of Duty World War II. This is probably the cheapest Call of Duty game that you can buy currently. Some of the older ones on the Xbox 360 and stuff, like your Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and 3 and Black Ops 1 and 2 and stuff, those are starting to go up in price, and all of those are backwards compatible on the Xbox One, don't forget. But this game is dirt cheap. You can pick this up for $5 to $10 anywhere. And you know what? Out of all those games that I mentioned, this one, the story in this, the campaign in this game, it's about maybe 6 hours long, and it takes you through a whole portion of World War II, storming the beaches, working your way to Paris, and then infiltrating, working with a resistance unit in Paris to infiltrate the Nazis and steal some intel, and unbelievable game. Really, really good single-player campaign. I've played it all the way through 3 times. I love it that much. And then the multiplayer, the local multiplayer, which is what I really get into with Call of Duty, with a friend on the couch. 2 people, 2 controllers, 1 screen, playing the multiplayer content in these Call of Duty games, where you can set up a local deathmatch or capture the flag or a free-for-all or something like that against a bunch of bots, and you just go in with your buddy and see who can kill the most bots. The free-for-all modes and stuff, the maps in this game are fantastic. I absolutely love 75% of the maps in here. This is just such a great game. And I feel like this is one of the last great Call of Duty games, because after this, we got into Cold War, Vanguard, and all that kind of stuff, and the games really started to go downhill, which is not to say this one is as good as something like Modern Warfare 3, but it's in the same playing field. It's good. Things really went downhill from here, and I would recommend spending the $5 to $10 on this game simply for the offline content, if nothing else. I can't comment on the online multiplayer. Maybe people liked it, maybe they didn't, but I don't play online multiplayer because my internet sucks. So, anyways, guys, that was my last game. What do you think of this list of insanely cheap gems on the Xbox One? Are any of these games something that you would be interested in? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Stay classy.